Former Lucha Underground star confirms application for WWE's SummerSlam tryouts. Former Lucha Underground champion Marty the Moth, aka Marty Casos, was on a recent episode of the Wrestling Inc. Daily. Marty spoke on his time in AEW and Wrestling Inc. Managing editor Nick Hausman brought up the time Marty competed on WWE's Tough Enough Season 5. He reflected on his experience and the injury that took him out of the competition. "It's a trip, to be honest, because that was literally 10 years ago from the time that I was at the Nightmare Factory," Marty noted. 10 years ago I'm picking the brain of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, I'm getting to pick the brain of Court Martial, and Cody Rhodes, and Glacier, and Luther, and all these people that have done such amazing things. It's a trip that was exactly 10 years ago from this point. As far as the way that went, I try not to play the what if, and throw in scenarios of what if my ankle didn't break, because who knows? I could have won the thing. I could have gotten in there as the winner of the show, then adios in year. I could still be in WWE. I don't know. I don't want to play these what if games because then I'll just tear myself apart. There's nothing I could do about it anyway. Marty fractured his ankle in episode 7 of Tough Enough, and Stone Cold Steve Austin allowed Marty to hang up his own belt when leaving the show, deeming him tough enough. Hausman asked Marty if he had talks with WWE during or after his rehab. "As far as perspective, they didn't tell me, hey, go home, we'll be in contact with you, but Stone Cold Steve Austin gave me his cell phone number. He was very, very kind," Marty expressed. "I really think he was the one that mostly cared about how professional wrestling ended up after his career's over but he's the one that gave me his phone number. He's like, hey, send me some of your matches if you want. Let's keep in touch. Send me some of your matches. If you want me to critique them, then I'll critique them." I'm like, okay, I'll send some matches to Stone Cold Steve Austin, get them critiqued, but I didn't hear anything from the WWE. It was always through Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I have no complaints about. I invited him to my wedding. It was worth a shot, shoot your shot, and he didn't come. He's buying a new house in Nevada, so he was right in the middle of that. Marty then teased where his future in pro wrestling may lie, pointing out a key attribute that he has gained through his 10 years after Tough Enough. "I did a tryout at the Performance Center and then really not too much came out of that, and then I was told to put in for the tryout that's coming up here at SummerSlam," Marty revealed. "I did that. Now, I don't know if I've been accepted or anything by that, but I put my stuff in, so we'll see what happens out of that. That's SummerSlam weekend, so, who knows? Maybe I can go there and get a tryout and see what happens there. I haven't heard anything back yet. They have my information, so they know where I'm at." I asked him straight up, "Okay, you've seen me wrestle these last several weeks, Steve, so what do you think I really need to work on?" He's like, "Just get as much work in as you can and then try to put on some muscle, and I've since done that. I hired a personal trainer. I started eating every 3 hours. I put on 40 pounds of muscle since Tough Enough. It's been 10 years, so I definitely got the experience and the muscle mass that he suggested that I get. So it'd be interesting to see how I would fit into that world, especially since I've wrestled most of those guys already. Rey Mysterio, I've wrestled, Ricochet. In fact, in that WWE thing that they had me put in, I started listing all the people on the roster. I just went down the roster. I wrestled him already. Isaiah, Swerve, Scott. He's one of the champions right now. He used to be Killshot in Lucha Underground. I had one of my fondest and favorite matches with him in Lucha Underground. It's not a far fetch for me to be wrestling more of these guys that have already wrestled.